So in this particular part of video, we are going to differentiate between the component and the directive. Remember, we've been writing and learning to do components because that is mostly what we need in the Angular application. But a directive is a different terminology in Angular latest version. So while a component is something that's always associated with a view, or you can call it as a directive with a view, but directives typically won't really have a view. And what is the purpose of having something which does not really have a view? So you can apply it on existing set of elements to modify their behavior, right? So you can add certain behavior to an existing DOM element or the component that you have already created, right? Now, like you use the @ component to generate a component in Angular. I mean, use the meta tag as @ component. In directives, you'll similarly use the same meta tag annotation here as well. So before proceeding ahead and going to create our own directive, we'll first learn how to use an existing directive possibly. So I'm going to take you to the project right here, and I mean we have a basic project already running. So I'll just do create a div right here to start with, and we'll try and apply some classes on this div. Remember, you can just write up your classes right here. I mean, just for all div elements, I just want the width to be 100 pixels and the height to be 100 pixels to start with, right? So just that we can draw something right here. And then I just wanted to apply a class, maybe a blue class, to you know uh, fill the background color with the blue, and dot green to maybe at times in certain other conditions fill the background color to be green. So that's what I really want in the application, and of course I need to put in semicolons right here to get this working. I mean, on a multi-line, of course. A single line is not required, but I might just extend this example later on. So so the div should be there, and I'll just add a little border as well here. So we'll just add it to all divs. It doesn't really matter as of now. Right, so just keep it like this. Okay, let's see how does it appear as of now. So just go down to the the div kind of appears like this. Now the next thing that I'm going to do right here to the app component is I'll just style it as per a condition. So that's where you'll use our first attribute directive, and I'm going to go here and apply it at conditional basis. So let's just create a condition here. Condition, I mean just using a field name as condition, and boolean the value to be true. Let's consider. And what I really want to do is I just want to make use of this condition to evaluate certain things. So I just really want to use a class. I mean, if I just use a class blue, right? Of course, it's going to turn into blue. And if I just use a class called green, like here, it's of course going to turn it into green. But I just wanted to calculate it on a conditional basis. So what I'm trying to say is, when the condition is true, use a green, and otherwise use a blue, something like that. But of course, if I do it right now and go into the body, of course it just takes whole thing as a string. So the solution for me is to convert this into an ng class, and when I put this square brackets, right, I really mean evaluate the right hand side of the condition, and so you notice it automatically turns green. Now I'll just have a button maybe to toggle the condition. I'll just write here a click event. and right here have a toggle condition that simply does this dot condition and assigns it into a node of condition, right? So just changes the thing. So as a toggle, you notice I'm just kind of getting a dynamic class right here, and you must notice that the class is kind of changed here. Of course, in the HTML it just comes down as class. There's nothing called as an ng class, but ng is just kind of a namespace that is from Angular. I mean, it just really means that the thing that you're using as a directive is from Angular. It's not your own, and then you can use the same thing right over here. Now this is applicable to styles as well. I just suggest you try on doing this on styles yourself, and I think it's going to be easy. So the next particular section, we are going to talk about how do you create something like an directive, an attribute directive, which can alter your views itself, right? Remember, it's kind of adding some behavior onto an existing component or a DOM element. So that's what we will learn next. See you there.